One thing I've come to realize is for you to be able to give birth to a newer version of you, the older version has got to go. Let me repeat this. For you to be able to give birth to a newer version of you, the older version of you has got to go. So it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how hard you try. It doesn't matter how well you dress. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how much you earn, how much money you earn. When you want to give birth to a newer version of you, the best version of you, the older version has got to go. But for the older version to go, you have got to push the reset button. Now the reset button can be pushed organically, it can happen naturally, or sometimes you might have to push that reset button yourself. In my case, I had to learn the hard way. I learned the hard way and I had to push the reset button by myself. And this was in those days when I was living in the Greater NARC. You know what I mean? It's a bit dark, but we're going to get a good position somewhere. So I had to let go of a lot of things. I had to push that button myself. I realized there was some things that there was this kind of patterns that I'd always been seeing. You know, most of the times I had been involved with difficult individuals. Subconsciously, they were all of a sudden swinging into my life. Very, very toxic individuals. And guys, I don't know for what reason. I do not know why a lot of toxic individuals, they like good people. Those individuals, you will never see them dating their own, you know. So a toxic individual will not date another toxic individual. The toxic individuals, what usually they do, they always run for the good men or the good women. They always look for the best. It doesn't matter even if they have nothing to offer. They always look for the best. You see, back in the days, so there was this greater narcissist. I had eventually found out that this individual was up to no good, greater narcissist. And I was like, I'm not going to handle this. So I wasn't going to deal with that. I'd already seen those patterns for a big chunk of my life. So I was like, I wasn't going to deal with that. So I cut off the greater narcissist. So I came back home. I was like, it's about time to work on myself. You know what I mean? It's about time to work on myself because of course eventually I had awakened, which I'd already confirmed that I'd awakened. I'd finally lifted the veil. But then I noticed that actually there was this pattern still following up. But the difference was, this time I was much more aware of this pattern. So I would actually see these patterns, you know what I mean? So whenever a pattern would come along, I would very clearly know what this pattern was all about. If it was an individual, I would know this particular individual, what they're all about. So I started to become aware of these patterns. And me being tired of those patterns, I was like, I'm going to cut everything off. So I stopped everything. I stopped. And when I say, guys, when I say I stopped, I stopped. I cut off the greater narcissist. I blocked everything. And in those days, a few months later, I also awakened to the fact that I had been involved with the toxic family unit. So I also cut off the family. I was like, now I want to see. You know, I want to see what life can look like when I remove toxic people out of my life. I wanted to see exactly how my life would turn around if I decided to let the toxic people go. So I cut off the greater narcissist. Eventually, later on, I cut off the toxic family unit. And eventually, I started to cutting off a lot of friends that I knew weren't taking me anywhere. So for me, the reset was pushed by myself. It's me who actually pushed the reset button. Or you can sometimes call it a reboot. So I rebooted myself. I was like, I want to see for the very first time in my life, I want to see how life is going to turn around when I decide to let all these people go. Now, a lot of you empaths out there, you may not be aware of this. You may be out there wondering why are you all of a sudden meeting these toxic individuals? Where are they coming from? You meet one, then the next one comes in, you leave that one, the next one comes in. Then there's this kind of a cycle. That cycle doesn't seem to end. It does not matter what you do, the cycle just doesn't seem to end. It looks like you're in this very long cycle of toxic patterns and you don't know where everything is starting and where everything is going on. Now you are starting to be aware that you're involved with so many toxic individuals around you, and now you're deciding to cut off everything and let people go. Now you're starting to reboot. You're deciding to reboot your life. I can guarantee you something. There's one thing I realized as well in those journeys, in those days when I was rebooting. The first thing I realized that when I decided to reboot, guys, I don't know, for some reason, it's like there's this energetic thing what was always going on behind the scenes that I wasn't aware of. It could have been something energetic that was actually because I was vibrating and I was putting out that energy of attracting toxic individuals. And that's when they always came in. So this time I was becoming aware, so I cut them off. And guys, let me tell you something. Everything stopped. I was like, wow. Guys, is very funny. He's very, very funny. Actually, that's why even sometimes most of the time people are thinking that, is it something with them? You know, are they going crazy? What is going on? It's like, nobody's calling you. Guys, let me tell you something. The very moment you decide to start cutting out people, toxic individuals out of your life, that energy is going to spread within other individuals, and a lot of people, they'll stop calling you. Now, I'm talking about the people who are in your old circles. A lot of these individuals you have been involved with for very, very many periods of time. Those will be the first individuals to let you go. Those individuals, they'll stop calling you. They'll stop visiting your home. And remember, guys, sometimes you have not even contacted them. You've cut them off emotionally. You've decided to say, okay, so you're not going to contact those individuals anymore. You're going to let them go. You're going to release them. Guys, let me tell you something. Energetically, the very moment you put it in your mind that you're cutting off people and you're letting people go, that is the very moment when the whole dynamics change. They'll stop calling you. They'll stop visiting you. A lot of you guys who are used to this kind of dating, you know, this dating, you go out there, sometimes you guys who are going to the club, to the clubs or whatever, you're going out there, you're meeting nice girls and everything. All of a sudden you're meeting girls, before you know it, they're toxic ones. Or you're meeting nice men, and before you know it, they're toxic. A lot of times when you push the reset button, let me tell you something, everything is going to stop. Guys, it's unbelievable, and you cannot even imagine this can happen. But it's one of the things you're going to realize the very moment you decide to reboot your own life, to start from the beginning. Because you see, the secret of rebooting, you're rebooting finally because you want to sit by yourself for the very first time in so many years. You know, guys, you can always concur with me that for all these years you've been involved with toxic situations, for the very first time you're choosing yourself. Now you're saying, you're stopping, you're sitting down by yourself, you're going within. Because I can guarantee you most of the times, the reason why a lot of individuals, they end up with a lot of difficult and dangerous situations, that is because a lot of individuals, they do not, and they have never got the time to sit down by themselves and go within. But I guarantee you as well that going within is one of the best things that can ever happen to you, especially if you're an empath who has been used to terrible life situations. It is the best thing that can ever happen to you. The very moment you decide to sit by yourself, you start blocking people, you start saying no, you start cutting out people who don't deserve you. That is the moment your life is going to take a completely different turn. So for me, in my case, in those days, I remember I rebooted. I sat down by myself. Of course, it was a very quiet moment in those days. It took a couple of months. You know what I mean? And it is what is the scariest moment, when you see you're spending a lot of months by yourself, alone. Nobody's coming around to visit you the way they used to. Even sometimes you're going out there, sometimes you're meeting people on the way. You want to say hi, they don't want to look at you. You can say hello, they don't look at you. You can no longer date the same way you used to date. You can no longer have the same girlfriend you used to have. Let me tell you something, rebooting is one of the best things that will ever happen to an empath. Everything is going to stop. You will not know where all of a sudden your friends have gone. Your phones are not ringing. There is silence all over the place. You're sitting down by yourself. Sometimes you're getting bored. That is most of the time the universe now. The universe is bringing you to that alignment. The universe is telling you, hey, listen, my son, whatever's been going on out there is an illusion. The true world that you're looking for and the life that you want to experience, that life is going to start from within. So now you're sitting by yourself and you're going within. In those days, I can guarantee you guys, I got all the answers I was looking for. So that's when I found out actually, oh, for the most part of these days, I've been attracting these individuals without even me knowing it. They had always been coming in, and it didn't matter who. It didn't matter whether it was an employer. It didn't matter whether it was a friend. It did not matter whether it was a girlfriend, I don't know, whatever relationship. Anybody that I was attracting in those days, they were toxic for some reason. That is because of the energy in those days. I had gotten used to these cycles of abuse. whereby now you are in that energy, whereby you're attracting that similar energy of people in front of you. Those individuals, they would sneak in. They would come in, guys, you don't know that those guys come in. They just come in. In a few months, in a few weeks, you realize they're not for you. You leave them. Another one comes in. They just keep on coming in cycles. But in this video, I want to let you guys know, chosen ones, empaths out there, awakening empaths. I want to let you guys know it is going to become very obvious, whereby you will decide to reboot. And the very moment you decide to reboot, that is when the universe is going to step in, because now the universe actually acknowledges you have learned your lessons. Now you know what you need to do. You may not really know where you need to go, but you know what you need to do. What you need to do is cut off toxic individuals, sit by yourself, introspect, and go within. Because all the answers we need, all the answers that we're looking for, I can guarantee you guys for 150%, all the answers are within. You go within and check yourself. In that silence mode, when you're rebooting, for all of you guys who don't yet know who you are, that's when you're going to actually come to that realization of who you are. Who are you exactly? Who are you? Are you a narcissist? Are you an empath? Are you a codependent? Are you an INFJ? Are you this? Are you that? You are going to now start to getting a lot of answers. The very moment you sit by yourself, you read some books, get some knowledge on the internet. There's a lot of coaches online. Start to discover those things that you've never done before. That is the exact moment you're going to discover exactly who you are. If you're a narcissist, you will discover that you're a narcissist. And of course, you will know how to go from there and where to take it from there. But if you're an individual who is an empath or something like that, that's when you're going to discover all these qualities and abilities that you've always had, but never been able to experience because of the energy around you in those moments. So you have never been able to live your full potential because of the energy, what was around you in that time. So you're sitting down now, you're going within, you're rebooting, and you're stopping everything to start again. Starting again is not easy, guys. I've already told you guys, starting again, it's like when you push that reboot button on the computer. You have to sit back and wait for it to start again. Then it's going to start loading on these other programs and this and that, and you're just sitting there waiting. Nothing is happening. You're not doing anything. Your hands are not moving. You're just there waiting for a couple of minutes so that your computer now can restart, because you have restarted, you have rebooted, so you've restarted, and nothing is happening. That's the same thing that happens in the energy of you awakening empaths. When you decide to reboot, everything will stop. So in those days, I was looking around, I was thinking, wow, where's everybody? I'd already asked the universe, me without me knowing it, I'd already manifested the universe, hey, listen, I want to stop this mess. But in the moment I was manifesting that, even sometime without knowing it, that's the moment the universe said, okay, so we're listening, my son. We're going to do exactly what you've said. And the universe stopped everything. They stopped, guys, the universe stopped everything. You're thinking, where are my friends? Where are your friends, you know? Your cousins are not coming around, you know, they used to come around for little parties or things like that, for barbecues and everything. Everything stopped. Nobody's coming. You start counting the weeks. Nobody visits you, nobody calling you. Sometimes you call them, oh, I'm busy, I'm going somewhere, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. The weeks go by, the months go by, the years go by. You can even take a year, guys. Let me tell you something, the rebooting session is very important for somebody to experience growth in their lives. When you've not had a moment whereby you have decided to cut off everything and reboot, you've never seen anything changing. You are going to continue going through the same cycles like you've always been for a very long period of time until you stop. Guys, something else, sometimes, I've told you guys, when you want to experience a newer, a fresher, a better version of you, let the old stuff go, let the old things go, let the old paradigms go. Because remember, guys, when you're waking up, I've told you guys already in my videos, you're shifting your paradigms and you're getting out of the old frequency. So most of the times it's very, very shocking, because when you're getting out of those frequencies, there is very many people around you who are not ascending with you. You know what I mean? So they have not shifted with you. You have got the shift. You have experienced the shift. Guys, you can go back to my videos. I've done a video about the shift. You have gone through the shift. The other guys around you, they haven't experienced that shift. They are still on that same frequency that you left them. And it is going to be shocking. The most shocking thing you will ever experience is coming down to those guys later on. You meet them sometime a year later, a year and a half later, or 2 years later. What is going to shock you is that you're going to find those individuals exactly where you left them, in that little job where they was, in that toxic relationship that was involved in that same low energy jobs. You are going to meet them where you left them 2 years later. And let me tell you something, what is going to be shocking. You're going to look at yourself 2 years ago, the moment you are still involved with those individuals. And that's when you will notice that actually your life has moved to a completely different level. That's when you're going to know you're experiencing growth. That's when you're going to know that you have achieved a certain area of growth, a certain level of growth, and now you're no longer on the same frequency that you used to be. And that is exactly when you're going to start attracting those individuals who are in your energy, the same frequency as you. That's when you're going to start noticing you're attracting. People are going to start coming out of the closet from nowhere. You'll be surprised. Guys, let me tell you something. When the universe removes some people from you, out of your life, you will be surprised where people are going to start coming from. A lot of guys will start coming from all corners of the earth. It does not matter which country you are. You will see people contacting you from India, from Pakistan, or from where, from this and that. People will start contacting you, and those individuals, normally, they are in your same frequency. Of course, there will be some people who are coming in, of course, in the low vibration or things like that. But when they come in, you will know those individuals are not for you. So you'll usually let them go, because when you start growing, when you start ascending and achieving a certain degree of growth, you realize that you're also attracting different kinds of individuals. And a lot of individuals who used to be with you many years ago, when you're starting to ascend or to move towards a newer version of you, a lot of guys who used to be with you before, a lot of them will disappear. They don't, even sometimes you meet them, or let's say sometimes you meet them by accident or something like that. You just meet them all of a sudden. You just stand there and listening to them, the things they are talking about, the energy they are vibrating at that moment. You listen to the way the things they are talking about. Then you notice that actually there's been that shift. You know what I mean? You will start to feel that moment that you've really outgrown so many people. A lot of people, you have outgrown them, and guys, you cannot even explain this to anybody, because that moment you realize a lot of guys, you've left them behind. So be aware of ascension, chosen ones. Be aware of ascension. When you're ascending and you decide to, to stop old things, to decide to let go of old habits, old relationships, old marriages, old friendships. Sometimes even people have got to reboot and get out of their jobs. Sometimes rebooting also can include a job whereby you just say, okay, I'm getting out of my job. It can even sometimes be getting out of your own family. I've done the video about the scapegoat. When the scapegoat decides to say, okay, it is enough, I'm getting out there, I'm going to do it on my own. My family has never had my best interests at heart. So you're getting out there to do it alone, by yourself, without your family. That is when you're going to notice the energy that you're vibrating at that moment, because it is the energy of letting things go. A lot of things that are not in your frequency, all of them are going to go. People, places, things, even sometimes thoughts. You are thinking that, oh, many years ago, many months ago, I used to go to this pub. I used to enjoy it sitting down there. I used to go to that restaurant. There's a gym I used to go, this and that. A lot of things that were in that energy that you was vibrating at that moment before the reboot. A lot of those things are going to start vanishing out of your life. That is when you're going to experience the maximum silence, the silence you've never seen anywhere else in this universe. You'll go to sleep. You wake up. You go to sleep the next day. You wake up. The third day will pass. The fourth day will pass. The fifth day will pass. The sixth day will pass. And normally, usually after a week, that's when you start to say, okay, there's nobody coming around. The phone is not ringing. You're not going out to the pubs like you used to do, to smoke the joints and to try to have a drink or things like that. Now you're by yourself, and that is when exactly the universe is going to force you to go inside you, because you need to go inside within. You need to go within to cultivate those things that actually that can actually help to inspire you to become a better version of yourself. That's when you go start cultivating a lot of these inner gifts that are hidden within you. Because you see, there's so much destruction going on in this universe, a lot of destruction going on around us. And for the destruction that is happening to you, it is that destruction that is helping you, it is stopping you from growth. As the destruction happens, it also blocks you from growing, because now you cannot be able to sit by yourself and to find a lot of hidden answers within yourself that are going to help you to move yourself to the next level. You know what I mean? Do not underestimate the power of silence. Guys, it may look as if nothing is happening around there. You may look as if nothing is happening around there. You have lost motivation for everything. You are sitting in your room. Nobody is coming. Friends have disappeared. Your partners have left you. Maybe sometimes there's some guys or guys who was eating. All those people have gone. Nobody is coming around. Oh, they are busy doing this and they are busy doing that. Your friends, you're calling them, they don't have time for you. They cannot come to visit you. Nothing is happening. There is silence. Guys, do not underestimate the power of silence. That is exactly when the newer version of you is birthed. That is when you birth a newer version of you. And that is the version of you that is going to move you to the next level. By you cultivating your gifts, understanding those things that inspire you, and now you're coming back as a new person into the world. That's when you see a lot of confusion starts happening, because now you're coming back a new version of you. And people are like, what happened to Denzo? What happened to you 2 months ago, or maybe 6 months ago, things like that, 7 months ago? You was a different person. Now all of a sudden you're coming out, you're talking about something different. The energy you're putting out is different. The words you're talking about is different, because remember, during the silence, you're also learning. You learn stuff. A lot of people will not know, and the universe doesn't want people to know. Because the universe is teaching you. Universe is the biggest teacher on this planet. Universe is the biggest teacher. So the universe is now starting to teach you so many things. The universe is bringing a lot of coaches, videos, the books, the knowledge, the wisdom. Now you're starting to expand. You know, your knowledge is expanding. You're getting enlightened. You're meditating, silence, spiritual practice, all these kind of things. You are now vibrating higher. The very moment you come out of the closet, guys, let me tell you something, the very moment you come out of that bubble, on the other side, as a newer version of you, that is when you're going to look around and nobody can understand you. So that's where now the misunderstanding comes from, because now people don't recognize that person you've become after all those years or months or whatever. People will not recognize the newer version of you only when you put in the work. So, chosen ones, remember, there will always come a moment whereby you have to reset. Things are not going your way. Stop. Guys, let me tell you something. There's no problem with stopping. Just stop whatever it is you're doing. Sit by yourself. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Don't go on those dating sites, because the relationships you have been trying, they have not been working. So you're going back to the dating site to find new partners. Do not go on dating sites. Guys, the first thing you should do is one of the first things I did actually those days. I removed myself from dating sites. I say, okay, so I'm going to first of all get myself off these dating sites. Now let me first see what will happen when I sit by myself. That is exactly when I discovered my authenticity, my true authenticity. And actually that's when actually my life started taking off in a much more positive direction. So guys, it will also happen to you. You will reboot, you reset, you will be alone, you sit by yourself, you will go within. There will be silence, nobody will call you, nobody will visit you. But that is because the universe is doing the work behind the scenes to make you a better version of you. So let me know what you think about this video in the comment section below, guys. You always know I appreciate and love your support. Book a session with me. You may always donate and support to this channel if you want to. All the links you need, they're in the description below. Until then, I'll catch you in my next one. There's more signing out, and peace.